cheap new games. It's not a topic that we generally discuss here on the channel because cheap and new games don't normally go that well together. But what I wanted to do in this video was, rather than just looking at the biggest discounted games on the PlayStation Store or big discounts, I wanted to try and find all the discounts for the games that have come out over the past 12 or 18 months so we can look at all the new games that have come out recently that are now way cheaper. I think it's a different take on this whole format that I think is kind of valuable for you guys as well. So we're going to be looking at new release games. Well, semi-new release. New release I'm going to define as something that came out at least midway through 2020 or at any time in 2021. So within the last 12 or 18 months. Haven't done a sales video like this in a while, so if you enjoy this kind of content, let me know in the comment section down below that you want to keep seeing these kind of videos. Don't forget to leave a like as well. It helps out the video enormously. And if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's completely free and I would really appreciate it if you helped out the channel that way as well. Alright, so the first game I want to look at is Chivalry II. This is both a PS4 and a PS5 game that came out midway through this year, I believe June or July 2021. The game is discounted 20% off on the PlayStation Store at the moment. It's obviously a sequel to a game, Chivalry, which I don't think it has a narrative or anything like that. It's a multiplayer focused or a completely multiplayer based first person game, but rather being an FPS shooter, it's an FPS melee game. Chivalry, as the name probably already kind of gives away, is about medieval knights and fighting knight style combat. It's a different take on the multiplayer genre and it is kind of a unique game. I personally haven't jumped in and played Chivalry 2, but I did spend a significant amount of time with the first one with Chivalry 1 and I did really enjoy my time with it. This one here is still a little bit pricey for me. I'm waiting for a bit more of a discount before I jump in and play this one, but I will be checking this one out at some point as well. Scarlet Nexus is an anime game on the PlayStation 4 and the PS5. It's a JRPG, is probably a better way of saying it rather than an anime game, because I don't believe it's actually based on an anime, but it does just look like every standard Bandai Namco anime game. On saying that, I am keen to check this one out as well. The description of the game says a action role-playing game developed by Bandai Namco and Toei Studios. So I don't know a huge amount about this one, but I am keen to play it. The artwork for it is really cool. It reminds me a little bit of Freedom Wars on the PlayStation Vita if you played that, kind of Monster Hunter-esque but more anime style, and I kind of like that genre. Maybe if you played Astral Chain, I think in the last couple of years on the Nintendo Switch, it looks very similar to that in style as well. I'm keen to check this one out. In fact, I think I will pull the trigger on this one during this sale. I think this is a good price for it. I'm pretty sure 40% off is the cheapest I've seen it so far, so I think this will probably be the one I'm picking up in this sale. Another one I am buying is Hired Gun. This game came out, I think, 2 months ago, or maybe even 1 month ago, October or September this year. 35% off down to $25.99. Hired Gun's an FPS game, a narrative-driven FPS game, but it's a AA style game, released from a AA publisher and studio as well. These games are making a comeback though, these AA style games, which are a little bit cheaper in scope, in budget. You know, you're not getting a God of War or a Last of Us here, but they are filling a niche, which I do think is really quite cool. This game reminds me of pretty much every AA FPS game that came out in the 360 era of gaming, and I mean that in the best possible way. If I was to compare it to something that you guys are probably familiar with, it looks a lot like Doom, but probably not quite as fast-paced as Doom, but aesthetically very much looking like Doom. So excited to check this one out as well. Another game that only came out literally a month ago is In Sound Mind. This is 20% off as well, $27.99. This game obviously came out around Halloween. It's a psychological first-person horror game. Looks like you're going around solving mysteries, solving puzzles, getting spooked all along the way. This one is published by Modus Games. They are again another AA game developer who produce a bunch of mid-tier style games. I would say they haven't really released anything that's particularly outstanding, but this game here actually does look much higher budget than a lot of their other titles, and being in that sort of psychological horror genre, it's one of my favorite genres ever. So I'm definitely keen on this one. I actually picked this one up when it launched at full price, and I haven't had a chance to jump in and play it yet, but it's a good price for this one if you're into some sort of a horror thriller style genre of games. If you like the kind of games I enjoy, then I think you'll enjoy this one as well. Okay, a little bit of an older one here, Chronos Before the Ashes. I talked about this one at the end of last year. It came out at the end of 2020. It's a prequel to the game Remnant from the Ashes, which a lot of you guys may have heard of, and it's a AA style game very similar to that. This was actually a VR exclusive game for a number of years, published by THQ, and then they ported it over to be a standard release game and then re-released it. It's basically a very Souls-light game. It's like Dark Souls with sort of slow, methodical combat, exploration, looping in environments, things like that. And it's really fun. It's really basic. This one here is a very simplified version of that genre, but I think it actually works quite well as a bit of a palate cleanse for people as well. If you enjoy Souls-like games, I think you'll enjoy this one as a very light version of that. It doesn't take very long to get through. It's not very difficult platinum either. And the game mashes together two genres. Same as Remnant did, it meshes together futuristic sci-fi elements with like medieval fantasy elements. And I really like it when those two genres are combined. It does create something really unique and different, and I think this game is that as well. The art style and the game itself is probably just not as good as Remnant from the Ashes. It does seem like almost a half step, like a 0.5 version of Remnant, and not as good in any way, but it is still a pretty decent release. And you know, for $16, I think it's well worth the asking price. An arcadey kind of game is Descenders. This is a cycling arcade game where basically you're riding a bicycle down a hill. Now this game I know came out on the Xbox and stuff quite a few years ago, but it only came out on the PS4 last year, the middle of last year specifically. It's $10 now, so it's over half price. If you enjoy any of those sports action style games or any of the more recent Ubisoft games like Riders Republic, but you don't want to invest in that, this is kind of a light indie version of that game. You're basically doing downhill trail riding on a bicycle. You got to do stunts and tricks and things like that. This kind of fitted in with like the Tony Hawk-ish genre of games back from the PS1. There have been a number of these, I guess, over the past couple of years on PS3, PS4 as well. But this is obviously these guys' unique take on this game, Descenders. I played it last year. I had a good time with it. It's nothing serious. It's kind of fun, little arcadey game to play and jump into when you've got sort of a little bit of time to spare. I think it's worth the asking price of $10. We've got Crysis Remastered, which I guess is almost cheating because this game isn't a new game, but the remastered version of this game is a new game. It came out towards the end of last year. $14.99. It is rough, and the whole mantra of does it run Crysis still remains true. And a lot of you younger gamers might not be familiar with that, but it always used to be the saying, does your PC run Crysis? And if it could, your PC was good, I guess. Consoles don't run this version of Crysis very well. It's kind of buggy and janky and not so great. But if you're looking for a classic FPS game, Crysis is here and it is available. We also have two other versions, Crysis 2 and 3, which aren't discounted at the moment if you're looking to invest in the trilogy and really experience what Crysis is all about. Look, I would say this is probably the only way to experience this on consoles. Is it the best way to experience Crysis? I don't know, but it's available if you want to check it out. We have Hood, Outlaws and Legends, which is a sort of co-op, a squad-based co-op multiplayer game. I likened this to Chivalry because they kind of fit into the same fantasy genre, but the reality is they're very different games. Chivalry is more big, large-scale Call of Duty Battlefield-style combat, whereas Hood is more objective-based co-op combat or co-op gameplay. So you're working with a team of different classes to basically complete a mission or complete an objective on a map. The game is $15. Pretty decent price for this one at 25% off. This one came out, I think, in April of this year, so it's not a very old game either if you're looking for that. I would say if you're after a multiplayer game, because it is primarily multiplayer focused, you're looking for a game to play with friends, and you're looking for something sort of competitive or semi-competitive to play, this could be a good option for you if you're that person. Werewolf The Apocalypse Earthbound Champion Edition. I don't understand this. This game is weird because it reviewed incredibly poorly as a very, very average AA game earlier on this year when it launched. $26.99. I still don't even know if that's a good price for this game, honestly, with how negative the reviews were. I was really excited for this because it promised two types of gameplay. Third-person combat with a third-person shooting mechanic, and then werewolf, like melee combat, as you transformed into a werewolf. And the trailers for this game looked really cool. It had a lot of promise, but it came out as a full $60 retail release for a, you know, arguably very AA game. If it had released more in that $30 price point, I think it would have been much more palatable given it is realistically a AA game. They probably never should have been asking what they were asking for it. I am still keen to check this one out despite so many people telling me not to, and despite the negative reviews online. I do want to kind of experience it for myself, so I think I probably will pull the trigger on this one and pick this one up as well. Who knows? You're seeing the gameplay now, so you make your own decision if you're going to pull the trigger like me and experience Werewolf the Apocalypse. The weirdest part about this game is that they just keep promoting the deluxe editions rather than the standard edition of the game. There's obviously a standard edition, which is traditionally cheaper, right? It'd be like a $49 price point rather than a $59 price point, but they don't discount the standard edition, they just discount the deluxe editions. So they're always trying to squeeze a little bit more out of you. I don't like how Sony does this. I don't like how these guys are obviously choosing to do this as well. It's annoying, and it's something that if you're a publisher watching this, don't do that. It's really annoying for the consumer, especially if you're looking for the cheapest possible price. Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, another weird Souls-like game based on the Samurai Jack franchise, Cartoon Network's one and only. Is he the one and only Samurai? This Cartoon Network Samurai? This game is awesome. It is super underrated. It's $20, 50% off, probably because it's a licensed title and they paid so much for the license. But the gameplay itself is actually really decent. Like really solid action adventure mechanics with really good narrative mechanics in there as well and good storytelling. Game is a very, very solid experience. I recommend this one if you're looking for a just good action game to play. Trophy-wise, it's a pretty tough platinum trophy. It's going to take multiple playthroughs, and there are some frustrating things in there, but if you're just looking for a fun action game to check out, really, really good one, and I highly recommend it. And it's probably something that a lot of people don't talk about or promote or anything like that, but I played it last year. I think September last year it came out, and I had a really good time with it. Let me know if you're going to be picking up anything on this list, guys. If there's anything from today's video that you're interested in, or you have any additional questions about, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that. And give me some feedback on whether or not this kind of video is useful. I know the price point of these games is a little bit higher than what we'd normally talk about, but I thought we haven't done this kind of thing before. Let's mix it up a little bit and see if you guys like it or enjoy it. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hello again, Patreon, you beautiful bastards. Thank you to each and every one of the folks over here on the right-hand side for supporting me over on Patreon or as a YouTube channel member this month. Each and every one of you folks keeps the channel running. If you too want to be an absolute legend like these guys over here, you can support me on Patreon. Use the link in the description down below. Giving only $1 helps out this channel. So if you want to support even further, you can do that. You can also become a channel member down below as well by hitting the join channel button, and you get access to cool emotes and the logo next to your name showing that you're a supporter. Thank you all so very much for supporting the channel.